LSU basketball, the Tigers defeated the Georgia Bulldogs by a score of 94-64 on Saturday afternoon in the PMAC. The Tigers finished the regular season with a record of 21-10 and 12-6 in conference play. The senior class of 2020 was honored prior to the game as Marlon Taylor, Skylar Mays, Marshall Graves, and the late Wayde Sims receiving a standing ovations from the crowd of just under 12,000 at the Maravich Center. Sims was represented by his parents, former LSU basketball player Wayde Sims. It was with his wife, Faye. Marlon Taylor had 30 on Sunday in his last home game as a Tiger. Here is Coach Will Wade talking about the legacy of this class.
I told him in there, we flipped it. Their first year, their freshman year, they were 10-21, and we finished 21-10. So it's like a perfect, inverse there. So, I think Skylar with his work ethic and, Marlon, being, we're a more offensive-oriented team, maybe you would say. I think that's safe to say. But Marlon being a defensive guy, and, Marshall's kind of the ultimate teammate, and so that's a very, very good example of Marshall. That is, that's a very good example of how to live your life off the court and be about the right stuff. Skylar as well, and so I think they'll all of them have helped us big time.
Yeah, a bunch of high character guys there, and it seemed like just an incredible scene in the PMAC on Saturday. And look, now this LSU basketball team in a pretty good spot going in to this SEC tournament as a third seed.
I don't know if you can put into words how cool of a moment it was Saturday afternoon, closing that game out with under a minute left, with 44 seconds left in the game.
Yeah.
When Marshall Graves, who was the roommate of Wayde Sims, went to high school with Sims at University High, won 3 state championships with Coach Joe Spencer in the Cubs program. Got the pass with about 50 seconds left. I'm sorry, I have the
And
the
don't forget,
up.
he's also been He's been on that Sims scholarship as well, Graves has. The connections are many.
And after Sims tragically passed away before their junior season, Graves has been playing on Sims scholarship. Like T said yesterday, or on Saturday, he got a pass with 46 seconds left at the top of the key, fired it with 44 seconds left and buried it there. Clock was shown there at 44 seconds. Cody Worsham's got a great tweet of it that we're showing right now online at 1045ESPN.com. Worsham will be here in 20 minutes. We'll talk about how cool that moment was and where LSU basketball goes as they head into the SEC tournament. As Wade said in the postgame on Saturday, Game 1 is crucial.
The hardest game to win is the first one. You've got to win the first one. And so, like that Friday game, you got to put everything in it because that's the one game where the other team kind of has the advantage. They played the day before. Now they're going to get a little tireder as the game goes on, but you've got to get off to a good start in those games because they've played. They're a little bit more experienced. It's a tough game, that first game, and so we got to put everything into win. Once you win that first one, you just kind of get it rolling downhill from there. But
Tigers the number 3 seed. LSU basketball as they close out the regular season 21-10, 12-6 in conference play, 3rd seed heading into Nashville. LSU.
Yeah, so you got Arkansas and Vanderbilt that'll square up, right? And the winner of that plays South Carolina, and I think LSU gets the winner of that. I really like that from the LSU perspective.
LSU baseball, Tigers erupted for 11 runs from the on Friday night as the bats answered as what LSU offensively had been struggled. They combined 23 runs between Friday and Saturday and only struck out 12 times. On Sunday, reverted back to their old ways, but swept the series as Coach Paul Maneri and the group needed that series on over the weekend. Here was Coach Maneri talking about the 3-game set.
They don't always go exactly as planned. I honestly thought we were going to come out today, a beautiful day, the wind's galing to left field. 3rd day of the weekend, you'd think that the other team would be down on pitching, and I thought we were going to go out and get 15 hits and, just have a great offensive showing. My goodness, you look up after 5 innings, we've struck out 9 times. We just couldn't solve their kit. It was a barn burner. I mean, they just played well. They played great against us today.
Shout out to Gavin Dugard, though. 2-run home runs ends up being the difference. And look, nobody's going to celebrate too much about sweeping UMass Lowell, but this is the exact kind of confidence builder as now, to me, what I would call the baseball preseason is just about at an end, right? You got the South Alabama midweek game this week, and then SEC play. It's on, and it gets it's like on immediately.
Right.
in Oxford at Ole Miss. It's going to be rowdy as hell there this weekend.
Paisan had a good weekend. Gio DiGiacomo, 7 hits, 5 runs scored, 3 ribbies, raising his average to 382 on the season as the Tigers take off for SEC play to open that up. LSU football, Tigers LSU Board of Supervisors met on Friday afternoon and approved the new contracts for head coach Ed Orgeron and new defensive coordinator Bo Pelini. Orgeron's 6-year contract extension is worth about $41 million. Pelini's received a 3-year, $2.3 million per contract per year. The contracts for passing game coordinator Scott Linehan, defensive backs coach Corey Raymond, running backs coach Kevin Falk, Bill Johnson, defensive line coach, will go before the board in the next meeting on April 23rd. Some videos from LSU's opening practice. Myles Brennan looked good throwing the ball around. I know you weren't paying much attention.
I mean, he did. Like, I hopped on Twitter a couple times and I saw him just bombing it. But in all honesty, to me, what stood out to me were the quotes that Coach O's been giving about Brennan, right? I don't think he would be as emphatic in his belief or support in Brennan if Brennan wasn't doing all the right things. And you hear about him crushing the fourth quarter workouts, winning all the days. So yeah, I'm very excited for the Myles Brennan era to begin. I mean, look at that.
Garland Gillen of Fox 8 had some time with Myles Brennan. Here he is talking about Insminger.
It's been huge. That was one thing that I was worried about in this offseason. Right after the game, Coach Brady left, and we had all these coaches leaving and things like that. I didn't want him to leave, but I just, with his daughter-in-law, just passing away, and I just thought there's a lot of things that could possibly force him to leave, and that's one guy that he's been here since I've been here. He was the tight ends coach when I got here, and then he took over when, my sophomore year and last year, and he's really been kind of the foundation, throughout my whole process. He's like I've said before, he's kind of like a second dad to me. I can go to him for anything.
Wow. Coach Insminger's the man. I mean, he's just a great football coach.
LSU Beach Volleyball, the number 1 ranked LSU Beach Volleyball team, extended its win streak to 11 matches on Saturday at the TCU Beach Volleyball courts, sweeping both Missouri State and UAB. Next up for the Tigers, they'll face Southern Mississippi and Louisiana Monroe on Saturday. New Orleans Pelicans. On Friday night, Brandon Ingram overcame a poor shooting performance that included missing 15 of his first 17 shots before scoring 5 points in the final 62 seconds to help the New Orleans Pelicans hold off the Heat for a 110-104 Friday night win. And then last night, Drew Holiday just missed his second triple-double against Minnesota in less than a week, putting up a season-high 37 and adding 9 rebounds and 8 assists as the Pelicans beat the Timberwolves 120-107 on Sunday evening.
Yeah, and I know we're kind of doing this dance. We declared them dead last week, the playoff hopes at least, but after this weekend and the 2 wins, Jordy, they're 4 games back. They're
so
in
you're
the 9th
saying
seed.
There's a chance.
And so why there is a chance is because 2 of their remaining games of the 18 are against the Grizzlies. So, like, you have a chance to grab 2 back directly. You can pick up 2 elsewhere. Remember, the Pelicans have all losing record teams pretty much from here on out. So we're back, baby. It's back alive. Let's go, Big Z.
Zion had 23 in 32 minutes. The Pelicans,
you knew I was rocking that Zion jersey at Cabo at Mango Deck, too. Had to let him know.
Pelicans couple of days off here. They'll face off against the Kings on March 11th.
We were with some kids from California, and one of them was like, "Oh, I can't wait to see him in a Lakers jersey." And I almost jumped across the table and beat it. I let him know. I let him know that wasn't going to fly. I jumped across the table. I just didn't actually go through with any punching.
Represent. Next
yeah,
time.
I did. I know. I shut it down. He didn't say it again.
Taysom Hill's getting a first-round tender from the New Orleans Saints. Restricted free agent quarterback Hill, per sources, meaning New Orleans will have a chance to match any offer sheet that he signs with another team or get back a first-round pick. Saints plan to re-sign him pretty soon here in the offseason. Those are your headlines. What's trending here on Off the Bench.